Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Charles, and I welcome you guys to another episode of the Dreamerspro Show, where we cover everything from sports, hot topics, classic debates, entertainment, and where we give you guys a fresh perspective on things and how we see them. And in today's episode, the topic is, do we need more people like Joe Rogan in basketball commentary? So that's the topic I want to get into in today's video. But before we get into that, I want you guys to please make sure you go ahead and hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and hit the notification bell to be notified whenever we drop our content. Also, make sure you go ahead and check out Dreamerspro Max, an online sports community that we created, a place where you can go and start basketball discussions, chat live during games, and so many other cool things. So if you're interested in that, we have that linked in the description below. And also make sure you go ahead and click the join button to join the channel to receive loyalty badges from us. So anyway, let me get into this topic here. So this is a topic I've been kind of mulling over for quite some time now, and I said, hey, why not do the topic today before the holiday comes up? So first of all, Joe Rogan is somebody that I've been listening to for some time now. I used to watch a lot of his interviews on YouTube, and he had some of the most interesting and memorable interviews probably I've ever seen. He in his interviews, he comes at guests from a completely different angle than they normally would on different shows. He asks questions to people that you don't hear other people asking. He has this way of he has this relatability to him where no matter who the person is that he's interviewing, they somehow seem to connect on a human level, right? And I've heard him interview a plethora of people, from Elon Musk to Cornel West to Dave Chappelle, whoever it is. He's interviewed Candace Owens. He's interviewed people on different things. Now, Joe Rogan is obviously known for his work in martial arts, but he's also a comedian, and then also he's a host of the Joe Rogan Show and the Joe Rogan podcast, or JRE, Powerful Joe Rogan. And the guy's huge, right? He is huge, and he's one of the first people that really put a value on content creators. Up until then, if you made videos on YouTube and all, you're just a YouTuber, a simple YouTuber. And given the fact that he got so big, and he became so powerful that they were like, big companies started to approach him, and he ultimately was able to ink a deal with Spotify. And the reason that was just in April, I think it was in 2019, he was getting about 190 million monthly downloads of his podcast. That's over 200 million downloads a year. We're not even talking about his YouTube views. So he was huge, and he was able to sign a deal with Spotify that migrated the majority of his content over to Spotify, where they had exclusive ownership, the rights to distribute all of his content. But he kept ownership of his podcast, and I think he inked a deal worth over $100 million. That was the first guy to really get $100 million deal for a podcast. And now you see so many people out there trying to get these podcast deals. But the fundamental difference is Joe Rogan is very, 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 very authentic. And I think that's one of the reasons people like him. Now, why is he important, and how does he tie into sports? The reason I believe Joe Rogan is so important, or so powerful, to use his terminology, is because he provides a counterbalance to the mainstream. He provides a counterbalance. The things that you hear Joe Rogan talk about and the angles in which he comes at things is not what you're going to hear on the major media platforms like BBC, CNN, MSNBC, Fox News. He has his own thoughts and opinions, right? He's not trying to triangulate with these guys. He has his own views, right? And usually it's not agenda driven. He's just out there saying what he thinks to the best of his knowledge. If he doesn't have the knowledge, he'll bring in the person that had the expert on a particular issue, and he'll get that person to kind of give their views on a particular topic. He's questioned certain things, like with COVID and all of these different things. He's had his own point of views. Some of it have, created a firestorm. Other things people have supported him for. And I think that's why it's important, because he provides another outlet that's not so controlled. And if you think about sports media, where we operate in, primarily basketball commentary, usually the biggest voices you're going to hear out there are coming from the major platforms or the major networks. In this case, you're thinking of who? ESPN, you're thinking of Fox Sports, maybe Sky Sports. These guys have the biggest voices, and they have the biggest personalities. You're thinking of Stephen A. Smith, Colin Cowherd, Skip Bayless, Shannon Sharp, Chris Broussard, Nick Wright. All of these guys come from these major they're employees of these major networks, and usually a lot of their analysis tends to be agenda driven, narrative driven, whereas people like Joe Rogan, they just go out there and say exactly what they think. They have no agenda. They're just telling you like it is. And I think a lot of people find that to be refreshing. In my particular niche, let's say, a lot of the analysis is, let's say it's narrative driven, right? There's always like a story they're trying to tell. And I get stories are compelling, but a lot of the time it tends to influence the analysis, right? Because people are no longer trying to focus on the analysis. They focus on trying to paint a picture. That's why certain athletes continue to be painted in a negative light, while others always seem to be put in a positive light because of the narrative. And I think it's kind of convoluting the sport, where a lot of people are kind of getting tired of it. And it's frankly starting to become very transparent. That's one of the reasons why we've always said independent media is so important. You need other voices to come at things from a different angle. It can't be the same thing day in and day out. And I'll give you an example of this. For example, on our channel, my favorite player is Kawhi Leonard. I make no qualms about it. I don't hide the fact that Kawhi Leonard is my favorite player, and I like to cover the Clippers a lot. Some people say, but why don't you cover the other players like LeBron James or the Lakers and all of these different things? It's not that I don't like these people. It's not that I have anything against them, but we need to provide a balance. There are other great players out there that we need to cover, and Kawhi Leonard is a great player that I always felt like didn't get enough consideration, especially all throughout the regular season. This past season, I said he never got mentioned in the MVP discussion. Not saying that he should win. I'm just saying the guy never got mentioned, and I don't think Kawhi Leonard and the Clippers get the coverage that they do if we don't cover them on YouTube. Now, I'm not saying we're the only voice out there, but we're one of the voices, right? So alternative voices are definitely needed in media, especially in basketball. When things happen now in basketball and you turn on the TV the next day, or you go on YouTube the next day and you look at the analysis, you can pretty much predict what people are going to say. And usually people tend to have the same position for weeks on or months on. For example, I'll give you an example. Think about Paul George. The entire playoffs, the entire thing has been, is Paul George pandemic P or not? Is he pandemic P or not? And it's like, can you say something else about the guy? Is there any other viewpoint you have about the guy? Is there? Right? And I just think that on a show like, with a person like Joe Rogan, I just don't see that type of, when he gives his analysis or when he talks about things, he makes it personal or it's agenda driven. I just don't get that from him. And I think that's one of the reasons why so many people support him, and he has such a huge audience, because there's a group of people out there, a large group of people out there that really want something authentic. And I think Joe Rogan is the proof positive of it, that listen, in basketball, we need other voices that are similar to Joe Rogan. Now, obviously, you're not going to get those main voices or these voices on the major platforms. That's why people like ourselves and others have to go out there, try to put out good quality content with a fresh perspective on things, actually put in the work, actually be willing to go through the process, stop trying to, cut corners and do all of these different things. And ultimately is going to pay dividend in the end. And I think that he's definitely laid out the blueprint that basketball commentators can follow, which is be authentic, have something smart to say, be original. And I think people ultimately are going to gravitate towards you. So what I want to know from you guys is quite simple. Do you think that we need more people like Joe Rogan in basketball commentary, or are you just absolutely fine with the current voices that we have right now that currently dominate the medium? Whatever you guys think, please leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section below. Again, if you enjoyed the video, be sure to make sure you go ahead and hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and hit the notification bell to be notified whenever we drop our content. Once again, this is Charles here from Dreamerspro, wishing you guys an amazing day. Catch you guys on the next episode.